Divorce is a lonely road, and I've done it twice, and I wanted to share some insights with you on things I'd experienced. Maybe it'll help you. The very first thing I remember about my first divorce was the feeling of shame that somehow I had failed to execute on this whole family idea, right? My whole life I'd grown up thinking that the way that you have a family, the way that you move through life involves getting married, having kids, working your way up your job. And I had big dreams. I had big dreams and big ambitions to be like, the top of my game and make a bunch of money and support my family and all these sort of things. I had a Christian upbringing, which I no longer subscribe to, but it was the ideas very much rooted in the in the model of a perfect family. And when I got divorced, I suddenly didn't have that anymore, and it was just like it shattered in front of my eyes, and the shame, the shame of it, and feeling ashamed, feeling like a failure, feeling like I had like, what do I do now? So I just remember the sense of shame. And the reason I'm sharing it is because I just don't believe that it's right. That like now I've realized many years down the track that actually it was a good thing. And I don't think people should be shamed for making decisions and for working through big changes in their life that were actually the right thing to do. Looking back, I realized that my marriage wasn't ever going to last, and there were many problems in it. So if the wrong thing to do would have been to stick it out, and definitely the wrong thing to do would be to stick it out for the kids. So I just wanted to share that because I know that like the very first time that this whole the divorce journey kicks off, you're suddenly left in a place where you feel like there's no one in the world, because your context has changed. Like I felt really alone in the first phases of my divorce. Like I felt super alone and super at war, and I wasn't really sure where to turn to get support, and I wasn't really sure who to trust. In fact, like that'll be another video, but in the beginning I thought I could rely on the people that I knew and were close to me and could trust them, but that turned out not to be true. So that was a hard lesson in learning about who you can trust and who you can't. And unfortunately, when divorce kicks off, there's this period where everyone has to figure out which side they're on, and some people just back away entirely and don't really want to be involved in the drama. But that's all very well. It's still you that's left in the middle of it, sort of sitting there in a pile of broken glass, trying to figure out what to do with your life and where it all went wrong. And the world continues. Your job has to continue. Your kids still need attention. You still got to function as an adult in all of this crisis. And the last thing I wanted to be was the divorced guy. Like I just didn't want to be that guy that continually talked about his divorce over and over and over. I did know, and I had met people like that, that all they could talk about was their divorce. Looking back on it, and I used to be very critical of that. I used to be really judgmental and critical about people who would continuously talk about their divorce, and like I just felt like it was what's the word? I was like, get over it, guy. Just get over it. me, so naive. But I realize now that that was a bit of a call, like a bit of a cry for help. Because it's a lonely place to be in. It really is. And you feel so ashamed that that yours didn't work out. And the part that killed me was every time I would tell someone, or it would come up, that, because it would be like, hey, how's so-and-so? Oh, sorry, didn't you know we're divorced? And then the instant response was, I'm so sorry. Oh no, I'm so sorry. That's terrible. Like, and I got a problem with that, because is it terrible? What's terrible is staying in a relationship that isn't working. What's terrible is constantly fighting in front of your kids. So I realize now that I think that people that I've met that talk about the divorce all the time are looking for acknowledgement that actually what they did was okay, and actually what the process itself is a hard one, and it's a difficult thing to go through, but it was necessary, and it had a good end. It had a good end. The end was that two people were able to find a new way to fit into the world, and a bunch of other things. But it shouldn't be looked at as a shameful thing. So I reject that sense of divorce being something that's wrong. I reject that it should be looked down upon as a failing, and I reject that there should be any shame attached to making a stand and taking a decision in your life where you know that there's no other way to bring peace back into your life, because it certainly did for me, and it's that sense of peace took a long time to come, but it was definitely one that I'm thankful for and I'm grateful for. So yeah, like, shame has no place in this very difficult life decision that people have to make. So I wanted to share that because I know there's a lot of people out there who sit in this like guilt of like, how could I be such a failed human? And the truth is that you're not. Like, the truth is that you've actually made a big, bold, strong decision, and it's really hard. You lose so much along the way to gain that sense of peace and freedom back. It costs you so much, but the other side is worse. The other side is the cost to your peace, the cost to your sense of self, the cost to your own identity, the cost to the mental space you're given to be able to live again and become, be yourself. Those costs are worse. Like, they're bigger. So to cross this river is difficult, but I'll reject there being any shame in this at all. In fact, it should be celebrated. It should be the boldness of the decision and the strength of getting through is something that should be celebrated, and that's how I feel. So it took me a long time to get there. I thought I'd share it with you because it's not an easy journey. By the way, my name's Luke Venediger. I've been through quite a journey, having been married twice and divorced twice. I've been through the court systems back and forth. I would really love to share my experiences, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to share those with you respectfully, and sharing the things I've learned along the way. And I hope that some of this helps you, and I hope that you can find peace in the decisions you've had to make, the really hard ones, because I don't think enough people talk about it, and I don't think enough people acknowledge that how difficult a journey it is, but it's an important one. And so I'm just going to share all the things I've learned about, and I hope that some of it helps you too.